Convention TV and Florida United Numismatists take a moment to explore the Bourse Floor at the Fun Show in Orlando, Florida. You never know what treasures await you on the convention floor. Fun Convention TV welcomes Mr. David Chaltas, also known as Robert E. Lee, to the Fun Show.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chaltas, you're a published author. Can you tell me a bit about some of your books?
Oh, ma'am, that's a great question. First off, thank you so much for attending this wonderful event. It's just been tremendous. I've met so many new friends, and a lot of people came by and bought some of my books, but I've written several. I actually have written 42, and most of them, of course, dealing with the Civil War between the states. And I have a book about Robert E. Lee that I've written, and one is entitled Appalachian Rebels. I'm real proud of that because Richard Brown and I researched the topic of the 13th Kentucky Mounted, and when we first started, we thought, well, there'll be 5 or 6 battles they were involved in. 6 years later, we had a book that had over 40-something engagements, plus some daily skirmishes they had, so that's exciting. Also, as a chaplain, I write books dealing with, there's this book, it's called Raging Waters, Peaceful Shores. The purpose of this book is offer weekly guidance, daily guidance, and based on sound Christian principles, and more importantly, the Bible. I've written ghost stories, children's stories. One to be out in February 1st. It's called The Mouse and the Cadillac. And I already have a couple of fine young people here that I'm sending a complimentary copy because I like children to tell me, they're so brutally honest, to tell me what they think. So I do quite a bit of writing, ma'am, and plus I write for the Civil War Courier, which is National Magazine, and Gazette, and a few others. I stay busy.
And why did you start writing?
Oh, that is a great question. The main reason I started writing was for the young people I work with. You see, I'm the director of a program in Kentucky. It's for adjudicated youth. Young people that gets in trouble with the courts, I get, and I'm their last resort. And they usually are either non-readers or hate reading. And I found that if I wrote it, they read it. So I started writing little short lessons, stories, and then we'd read it and we'd analyze the sentence to see where the noun, the verb, and if there was a preposition at the end of it, the inaccuracies of it. And it led to the kids starting saying every week, what story you have for me. And so I started writing, and that became, I hate to say the word obsession, but it happened. And it has been wonderful in using it as a teaching tool. And some of the stories that's in my books are children inspired because they give me an idea and I say, okay, let's go with it.
How did you get involved in reenacting and the persona of Robert E. Lee?
Ma'am, I never did want to play Robert E. Lee. He was such an outstanding person. I was in Aiken, South Carolina last weekend, and I said I cannot walk in that man's footsteps without remembering that he tried to walk in Christ's footsteps and could not do that. But I liked the Christian character. I was at an event where we was honoring some fellow, actually a veteran who had passed away, and we were firing, and I remember we was ready for the third volley, and I had my gun up. This little lady in a wheelchair, she started saying, she's 92 years old, man. When's General Lee going to say something? And we kind of looked around wondering whether she having a delusionary effect or whatever. And to my horror, she kept saying that, and when the captain after the event went over to speak to her, he said, yeah, he's here, pointed to me. And I went over and said, ma'am, I apologize, I'm no General Lee. He said, they ought to be ashamed of yourself, you look like him, start acting like him. Well, that happened to me then, and then a couple months later, a couple events happened. And I was invited to do a back block reunion, which consisted of about 180 plus people, and I thought they wanted to talk about my school. So I had my speech ready, my pretty little suit and tie, and when I went in, the lady stopped talking and said, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I present Robert E. Lee. And I looked around thinking, where? And to my horror, she pulled out a uniform coat, a hat, and I had to transition myself there. And I remember touching the podium, shaking, and what I did was when when things are going bad in your life, you don't know, look up. And I said, dear God, help. And I have no idea what I said. I spoke for 45 minutes. As I left the podium, there was complete silence. And when I got about halfway down, everybody stood up in a standing ovation. And I thought, well, if I am to do this man, as seems like the good Lord's want me to, I best study him. And I have been studying him, as my friend Abraham Lincoln and all the others will tell you. We study unceasingly our character, because we want to represent that individual as accurately and honestly as possible.
And I understand you're a motivational speaker. Can you tell me about some of the programs?
Well, I try to speak. I like to speak, of course, in character, but I do motivational speaking, teachers' meetings at schools. I go to several schools, churches. I just spoke at Kappa Alpha organizations and Sons Confederate Union also, and anywhere I can speak about a history or a heritage, or about what it's like to be poor and have faith that you can do better in life, and in spite of the bad things in your life, praise God and move up that ladder. And that's what I do.
I want to thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy day to speak with Fun Convention TV. It's been a pleasure meeting you and having you at the convention.
It has been my pleasure, ma'am. It's truly an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Fun Facts Fast. You've been watching Fun Convention TV. Visit Fun Forums for fun show updates, videos, articles, photos, and more. Fun Forums, it just makes sense. This video is the property of Fun, Florida United Numismatist. Re-editing or use without prior consent is strictly prohibited.